Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. I just want to check that everybody can hear me okay. There should be a question panel in the GoToWebinar toolbox on the side that you can type in. So if a few people could just let me know that they can hear me okay, that would be great. Thank you. Yes, I've had a few people say, yes, we can hear you. Excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Amazing. I'm just going to wait for a minute or two more just to allow more people to join before we begin. Thank you so much, everyone. Good afternoon to anyone who's just joined. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I think we will make a start now. So before I begin the webinar today, my name is Chelsea and I'm one of the service managers at Care First, and I will be presenting today's webinar. The webinar itself will take about 15 to 20 minutes, which will allow 10 minutes at the end for any questions. Now, as a service manager from Care First, I'm not clinically trained, so I won't be able to answer any clinical-based questions today. However, I can answer any questions to do with the webinar itself and to do with our services that we provide at Care First. To ask a question today, if you're not sure, you can use the GoToWebinar toolbox on the side of your screen, and you can type in a question in the question pad. Now, any questions that are sent over today, I will be reading anonymously, so I won't be reading out any names, but I will be reading the questions out in order to answer them live on the webinar. Okay, great, thank you. I think we'll begin. So today's webinar is based on the conflict that's happening in Ukraine at the moment, and it's about helping children cope with world conflict when events like this are happening. So the conflict happening in Ukraine at the moment is distressing and concerning, and it's concerning for so many of us across the world. And we understand that children and young people may have questions or be seeking reassurance during events like this. We know that schools are well placed to talk to pupils about the images they might see in the news or on social media and help them navigate the concepts and issues that this brings up. We're also aware that these issues schools, teachers and parents may have never encountered before and may not know how to speak with the children and how to tell them about what's going on. So I want to go through today some useful advice and resources for schools, teachers and parents that may be helpful for the families out there and the young people themselves to talk about the current events. So this advice and resources have been put together from us at Care First and from advice following from schools too. So firstly, I want to go through a summary of how to talk to young people about distressing, complex and emotive news stories in general before we roll into how to speak to them about world conflict. So the first part of advice is to establish the facts. You can point children towards trusted, reputable sources that explain the what, where, when, and why, and who. So this is things like the BBC. There's also places like the BBC Bite Size who could be aimed at children. and more accurate and reputable sources that can really explain to them all the different areas that they might be asking those questions. But it's best to stick to the facts for them. Explore a range of diverse perspectives. By considering the different voices and views involved and showing solidarity with potentially marginalised voices and views, and make sure it's not left to a pupil to stand up for a particular minority viewpoint alone. The next is to be comfortable without an answer for everything, and help your children feel comfortable with that too, by being clear that in many circumstances there is not one right or correct answer, and there can be multiple sides or two sides to every story. And to be comfortable in explaining this when your children or young people in your life ask those questions. Encourage students, young people and children to debate those ideas. This can be done by facilitating discussion and helping the pupils and young children know that debate can happen without it becoming personal. For example, encourage young people to say they disagree with someone else's idea rather than with the person, and teach them how to have those discussions. And this can allow them to learn more about the current events that are going on. So now I want to run through on how you can speak to your children or young people in your family or in your life about the current world conflict that is occurring. Now, this is not just talking about what's going on in Ukraine, this is general world conflict and news stories that might be emotive or complex or distressing, which may find them having questions about it. So the first bit of advice that we would give is to always be honest. Children have to know above all else that they can trust the elders in their life and the people that they look up to, like their role models and their parents and other relatives too. Young children will hang on to every word that we say when we speak to them, and it can be detrimental to the interests of the children in our lives that if we told them one thing and they later find out that maybe that thing isn't entirely true. Teenagers are likely to know a lot already, so discussing all of these things that they already know is really important. Spend time talking to them about the current conflict in Ukraine if this is the discussion that they need. And with so much social media and online presence, it's also good to talk about the different perspectives and narratives, the different resources that they might be able to find, and check with them for misinformation and use those facts to your advantage. Obviously, a lot of teenagers have access to a smartphone or the internet, and they'll be able to go through and Google things themselves. They'll be able to use web browsers, and there'll obviously be articles and stories that are posted and published on social media platforms such as Facebook. So it's really important that you point out to them the reliable sources that they can look into and check for misinformation. You can also check there might be articles that are spreading false information or scaremongering. It's good to discuss this with them. The next tip from us would be try to stay calm, or at least seem to be, even if you don't feel calm. Children often look at their parents and teachers and older people in their life as role models and how they should feel. But it's okay to say if you're worried as well and that you don't know everything that's going on. None of us have all the answers, so you don't need to pretend that you do. And it's important that you're open about this. Be aware of little pictures have big ears. Children are master eavesdroppers, and their young ears pick up from the next room without even trying. So be careful of how you're talking about the situation when you're talking to the other people in your life, such as your friends, family, and relatives, or your partner. Not saying one thing to them, but then saying something very different in the next conversation could be more worrying to that child if they overhear it. So it's better to just be open and honest in those situations and have open conversations that include them as well. Listen to what your children have to say. It's imperative to listen to what children think about what's going on and how they feel about it. For younger children who seem disconcerted, you should give them a chance to express how they feel. Perhaps you could set a few minutes aside around an hour before school finishing or when it's bedtime for a chat. ask them how they're feeling and if they're worried about anything. And you can always relate those feelings to how you're feeling yourself. This can give you a chance to really open up in a family setting or a comfortable setting for them. They can open up about the things they've heard at school or the things they've heard from their peers that day, and it'll give you that opportunity to reassure them and to be open with them as well. Do not bring up what is going on if children don't seem interested. So if your child has not brought it up, it's not on their radar, it's not something they've questioned, then perhaps consider not bringing it up at all. Some children will be fascinated by what is happening in the world and want to know more. Some will be worried, but others may show no interest at all. And that's fine too. It depends entirely on the child. It's about judging each child's interest and responding to it in the right way. If your child has not brought up what is going on, we would suggest not to bring it up because it can cause unnecessary worry. It may be something that they're unaware of, something that they've managed to miss in the media or from their peers at school, or something that doesn't worry them or concern them, and that could be really beneficial. So we would suggest not bringing it up if you can avoid doing so to prevent unnecessary worry. Relating situations to things they know. For some children, picturing things can help them to understand what is going on better and relating those events in their life that they will remember. It could be like looking at a map. You may want to reassure the child that they are safe. This could be mentioning a holiday, pointing the destination out on the map and how long it took to get there, then point out where the conflict is in relation to the holiday, which might be even further away. Reassure them that you're going to keep them safe. You could also point out where their home is and where their school is on the map, and where this is in relation to where the conflict is happening in the world, and also show them how far away it is and how where they are situated and where they're now is safe. You could also reassure them that you, as their guardian or parent, is going to keep them safe where they are and that they're safe at home, and you'll do what you can to keep them safe. Providing a picture and an imagery can really help children to understand if they're not fully understanding when you speak to them. It can be a really inventive way to speak to them about what is going on. One of the key things about the presentation today is going through the fact that us at Care First can help you with these situations. So if you've listened to the webinar today and you're still feeling unsure about how you can speak to your child, or you've spoken to your child and used these techniques and you're feeling quite overwhelmed or worried, you can always use our service to speak to our counsellors and they'll be able to assist you in that and give you that emotional support. You can also call up and speak to our information specialists about the current world events, and they'll be able to update you regularly into what is going on. So that's why I want to speak now briefly about who are Care First, what services we do provide, and how we can help in this situation at the moment. And then we'll be able to go on to any questions that you might have today following on from our presentation. So at Care First, we offer professional counselling, an information and advice service, and we're there to help you with personal issues that might arise at home or issues you might be going through at work. We're here to complement the existing HR and management teams at your organisation, and we work alongside the employment policies and procedures that are already in place at your organisation. But the key benefit of our service is that we can provide you with an opportunity to discuss what you might be going through away from your workplace with somebody who's completely independent and external from the situation and from your organisation that you work for. Now, our service is completely free and confidential for all staff at your workplace to access, and you can call up and use our service as much as you like, whenever you like. Now, if you'd like to use our service following on from the presentation today or whenever you need to, our counselling service is accessible through a free phone line. Now, the free phone telephone line for your organisation will be specific to your organisation. Each free phone line that we give changes between each organisation, so I won't be able to provide it on the webinar today. However, to get that free phone telephone line, you can speak to your HR or wellbeing team, or you can check your company's intranet, or you can check any promotional materials that might be around your organisation that talk about our services at Care First, and the number will be available on those materials, such as posters and leaflets and different bits like that. Now, our counselling support service is available 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Even all the national holidays like Christmas Day, Easter, bank holidays. Even if you wake up and it's 3 in the morning, you're feeling upset and you'd like to speak to somebody, we'll be there to answer your call. Now, one of the great parts of our service is that we don't have a triage or a receptionist service. When you call up, you'll be able to go straight through to one of our Care First counsellors immediately to help you on the line. Now, when our counsellors speak to you, they'll be able to offer you in-the-moment support with what it is you might be going through. Now, when you're going through that in-the-moment support and you call up and use our service, you might be asked to take place in a short assessment to work out whether short-term support is more appropriate to help you with the issue that you're facing. This is not likely to happen on your initial call, but may happen on a subsequent call into the service regarding the issue that you're struggling with. Now, the decision of whether short-term structured support is appropriate is always left down to our counsellor. So our counsellor will tell you whether they think it's appropriate or not, but that decision is always left down to the counsellor of whether they think you should have that support. We also have our online counselling service. Now, our online counselling service can be accessed on our lifestyle website. Now, I will show you the website for the lifestyle website at the end of the presentation today, but to access the lifestyle website, you'll need your organisation's username and password. Now, again, you can get that username and password from any Care First promotional material around your organisation. You can get it from your HR or wellbeing team, or you can get it on your company's intranet, and that username and password will be able to be used by all staff at your organisation. Now, our online counselling service is a great alternative if you're feeling unsure about calling up and using our service. What you can do is log into the Lifestyle website, click on the online counselling tab, and you will be taken to a web chat where you can speak to a member of our team. And our member of the team will be there to assist you and support you in making that call if you're feeling unsure. We also have our information service. Now, our information service differs slightly to our counselling service. This service is there to help you with practical issues and advice. They are trained by Citizens Advice. They're available Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. rather than 24 hours. And they can help you with things such as housing, benefits, financial advice, childcare, legal information, your rights. As they're trained by Citizens Advice, they can help you with a wide range of practical issues rather than that emotional support. You can access our information specialist and that service by using the same free phone line. But instead, when you're on the free phone line, you press 1 and you'll be taken to the information service instead of the counselling service. Our Care First Lifestyle website is where you can access our online counselling support. However, there's also a range of different materials on the website, things like webinars, articles, a budgeting calculator, financial advice. You can use our lifestyle website, whether you're at home, at work, or on your mobile. You can use it as much as you like, whenever you like. It's free and confidential for you to use, and it's a hub full of different resources about mental health and well-being. We also offer critical incident support and critical incident management as well. If the organisation that you work for has gone through a critical incident, we can offer support during that event or afterwards. So this is the last slide on the webinar today. Now, as a reminder, our counselling service is 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Our information service is Monday to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can access both by using the free phone helpline you can get from your HR wellbeing team, your company's intranet, or from any promotional Care First materials they might have around the organisation. Our lifestyle website is www.carefirst-lifestyle.co.uk, and in order to access all of the materials that are available for you and our online counselling service on that lifestyle website, you need your organisation's username and password, which again you can get from your HR wellbeing team, your company's intranet, or from any promotional Care First materials around your workplace. So I'm available now for any questions following that presentation. If you think of any questions after we have finished today, then you can email info@care-first.co.uk, and either myself or one of the other service managers will be available to help you. As a reminder, like I said at the start of the presentation, my name is Chelsea. I'm one of the service managers. I am not clinically trained, so I won't be able to answer any clinical-based questions today. However, if you do have a clinical-based question, do feel free to ring up and speak to one of our counsellors, and they'll be able to help you with that question as they are clinically trained. But thank you so much for everybody who tuned in today. I'll wait for a minute now for any questions to come in. You can type the questions that you have in, and I'll read them all anonymously. Thank you. Okay, so I've already had some questions come in, so thank you so much to everyone who's put in a question. So the first question says, is it possible to call up for counselling for our children rather than for ourselves? So this would depend on the contract that your organisation has set up with us. But in general, I would say that if you would like support for family members, we are able to help family members who are over the age of 18 or over the age of 16 who work. However, the only support that we can give those family members are signposting to other support. We wouldn't be able to support them ourselves at Care First. Our main support is available for staff. We aren't available to help children at all. We only help those that are 18 and over or 16 and over who work. This obviously depends on whether they're staff of one of the organisations we work for. However, if you do call up and you would like us to help somebody who's 18 and over or 16 and over who works, we'll be able to signpost them to other support services rather than help them through Care First. Thank you for your question. I've had another question come in that asks, what time did you say the information service was available? So the information service is available Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's available on the same free phone line that you would contact our counselling service on. Thank you for your question. We do have time for any other questions if anybody would like to write in. I've not had any other questions come in. We do have time if you'd like to ask a question. And I can see attendees are beginning to leave. That's no problem. I'll wait a few minutes more for any questions that might come up. Somebody said, thank you for all the information. Have a great day. Thank you so much for attending. I hope you have a great day too. Thank you. So I've had another question that says, we have employees in other countries other than the UK. Are you able to support them? Yes, we are able to help overseas as well. We work with services so that we can provide support in other languages too. It would also depend on the contract that your organisation has set up with us, depending on what employees we are supporting, whether they're employees that are overseas. But yes, we do have the ability to help overseas. Thank you for your question. I've had lots of thank yous coming in. Thank you to you two for joining. Thank you for attending today. I'm going to wait for a minute more to see whether we have any other questions. Please do ask any questions you might have. Feel free, we do have time. Thank you. I can see more people are beginning to leave and have said thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, another question. Thank you. Is it possible to access the slides? My webinar was interrupted by a call coming through. So this webinar is recorded and will be available on the Lifestyle website in the webinar section, and it'll be there permanently for you to watch whenever you need to. Thank you so much. Somebody else has said, thank you for the advice. It's very useful to know this service is available. Of course, no problem. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, I can see more people are beginning to leave now, so I think I'm going to draw the webinar to a close. But I want to say thank you so much to everybody who has joined the webinar today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope this has provided some reassurance and some advice with everything going on. Please remember that we are here at Care First. If you would like to use the service, we're available 24/7 and you can use it as much as you like whenever you like, so please don't hesitate. Thank you again for everybody who has joined today. My name is Chelsea. I'm one of the service managers. I've really enjoyed presenting the webinar for you today. I hope you have a great rest of the week and take care. Thank you.